Hello YouTube! So it's been a week since the last time that we talked, and today I'm gonna do a book review because I read a book. So yesterday, while I was suffering from I am out of Cardcaptor Sakura episodes to watch, and before I decided that I wanted to go back to watching Buffy and Angel, I decided that I wanted to read a book instead. So I read Just Like That by Marsha Qualey, and I'm going to tell you what I thought of it. So here we go. So I have kind of mixed feelings about this book, and it was sent to me by a very good friend, Kathleen Zinks, here on YouTube, and I can definitely see why she sent it to me. There were a lot of really interesting things that sort of spoke to me and sort of helped with kind of where I am right now. And one of the things that I really liked about the message and the theme of this book was that you can have traumatic and terrible things happen to you and still go on to be functioning and prove the people who think that you are broken and need to be looked after and coddled wrong. And I think that that's actually a really cool thing to tell teens and YA people and people in general, actually, now that I think about it. So that was one of the messages that I really, really liked. It did have a little bit of a romance that I kind of didn't like. Normally, I am all for romance, but there was some misdirection and misleading stuff that made it not so okay. But I liked the way that it was handled within the book about it being not okay and being handled and dealt with. So that was cool. And I think that it had an interesting perspective when it comes to the idea of teenagers in school and how sometimes when you're dealing with really traumatic things, being in school and seeing the people who may have betrayed you or hurt you or whatever is kind of not a place you need to be. And so I thought that that was a really interesting idea that was presented in this book. One of the things that I didn't like that also made me sort of have mixed feelings was there were points in the narrative where everything felt really choppy and kind of jarring. And even though I was reading it and the sentences were making sense, I felt like there was just this really bad disconnect. And I think it was supposed to feel like that. I think that that is how the reader was supposed to feel while that was happening, because it was very, very noticeable. And so that was interesting, but it's not something that I particularly care for in my narratives. And this book, to me, was a little too like real life for me to really be comfortable with it, in the sense that it does have that jarring disconnect and there's not this nice pretty bow tied on at the end. And like not everything came together the way I thought it would. So it was a good read. It was worth reading. I feel like I learned quite a bit from it, and it's definitely a book that's going to stick with me, but I don't know that I'm going to be revisiting it quite as soon as I might revisit, say, Harry Potter. But yeah, definitely really interesting book, interesting story, if a bit jarring, and yeah, I don't have any grace faces to give you, but there you go, Just Like That by Marsha Qualey. So until next week, DFTBA. Bye YouTube!